Islam, peace, Hotep, Namaste. My name is Auset Mayat Ejube, and it is once again with great pleasure that I welcome you all into my humble abode for our Culture and Refinement series, part 14, entitled The 7 Units. And once again, I want to welcome you all into my humble abode. Thank you for being here, watching and listening as we learn each from each other and uplift our communities, and at the same time uplift fallen humanity. Once again, I want to thank you all for allowing me into your homes, wherever you may be. And once again, we're going to go over our Culture and Refinement series, but at the end of our discussion of our units for today, I will do a brief history and an acknowledgement or dedication to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who was born on this day, who came amongst us. He was only with us for about 42 to 43 years, but what he brought to us, I always say, with acknowledgement from my ancestors and what my parents taught me of my heritage and my true spiritual self, Noble Drew Ali is the leading historian of our day and time, and America especially is at the forefront now. And as a shift takes place among us, it is very important that all truth be told. And as we come together, for those of us who truly want change with ourselves and with our communities, I will do a brief history, and also a book will soon be coming out as well about Noble Drew Ali. Because now is the time, and we're here at the forefront, and this is the time and what must be done, y'all. So once again, it's a pleasure to be amongst you, and let's start with our 7 units once again. Unit number 1 will be how to sew, Unit number 2 will be how to cook, Unit number 3, how to clean, Unit number 4 will be how to take care of our children and our grandchildren. Very important topic. As an educator, I always like to talk about the children, and as a mother and a grandmother, always trying to help our youth out here to educate and enlighten them, because that's the future. The youth are our future. That is unit number 4. Unit number 5 is how to take care of ourselves, because if you can't take care of yourself, how can you take on the responsibility of not just loving another person, but also being a husband as well as a wife in our day and time? So that's very important. It all leads into who we are and how successful we are in our relationships. So it's an everyday process, but each day we learn more about ourselves. The more we can be a better wife, and men can be a better husband to their wives or their consorts. And this is what we're all here for, to learn not just necessarily the actual laws concerning marriage, but just how to live together as husband and wife, and what must be done to bring us back together in our relationships, and also with our children as well. For those of us who are having a hard time out here, we're just here to lend guidance. And also with the shift taking place, it's necessary that we repair ourselves. And then from there, as we repair ourselves, in the same time that we're with our husbands, and when you're with your wives, we're working on ourselves, cleansing ourselves, taking responsibility for what it is that we have to do. Then we can become better, not just husbands and wives, but also better parents to our children. Very important. That is unit number 5. Unit number 6 will be how to act at home. And home could be inside your home as well, but in the community, how you portray yourself, how you look, how are you dressed, how are your children acting, how are you responding to situations that are going out in your community. Very important at the same time as well. How you act when you ride in the public transit. Are you road raging in your car? All these things is very important, and that entails unit number 6. Unit number 7 is how to act abroad. That contains how to act outside when you're traveling in other communities, as far as overseas, like anywhere from Mexico, or there's laws or customs. The thing that happened in North Korea, I think the gentleman just came back home. The brother's last name was Bay, and he was locked up in North Korea for a while. I think it had something to do, they thought he was a spy or something, but regardless, whenever we travel abroad, once we get our passports, when we go overseas, wherever we go, we must always study the customs, know the geography. And it's very sad because over here in the United States, geography was taken out of the public schools, as well as sewing and cooking and just cleaning and just all different types of things that were taught less than about say 20 years ago. And then when they took out all these things that went along with going to college, they left out the main thing, which was how to just take care of ourselves, our responsibilities as a people, as a human race. And so that's why we see the decline in our culture. So when I got introduced to the Culture and Refinement series, I became more enlightened, and I knew that this is one of the things that I was born to do. So once again, those are our 7 units, and I'm going to go over again one more time. Unit number 1, how to sew. Unit number 2, how to cook. Unit number 3, how to clean. Unit number 4, how to take care of our children. Unit number 5, how to take care of ourselves along with our husbands. And for the men out there, how to take care of yourself and your wives along with your children. Also unit number 6, how to act at home. And unit number 7, how to act abroad. These are our 7 units for 2014, which also equals up to 7, which is also a lot of people's number. 7, very important this year as we all get into more of what we're supposed to be doing and fulfilling our mission, whatever it is that we want to do, whatever we promised ourselves we were going to do. Now's the time to get off to a good start as we try to accomplish these things. So once again, those are our 7 units, but as I discussed, this is going to be really brief because I have to get to some other things that I have to do today as far as with my teaching responsibilities. But we are going to talk about Noble Drew Ali, and this is the main reason I want to start it off in 2014 by keeping Noble Drew Ali in the forefront more and more each day, as I have been, but I'm going to step it up even more for 2014. We're going to really step it up, and we're just going to keep the way of life, not just teachings of culture and refinement. It does tie into who we are as people, and as our status is very important in this day and time, and what we choose to call ourselves. And the way that our youth are just thirsty for knowledge all across the board, no matter what youth they are. Mainly in our communities, we see the pain and the strife that our youth are going through, and I just know in my heart they know the real truth about who they are and what they want to be with their status, that some of them can gain and learn who they truly are and make a difference in their lives and with others, because they are our future. So Noble Drew Ali, let me start off by saying Noble Drew Ali was born Timothy Drew. He was born in North Carolina today, January 8th, 1886. And it is known that his mother and father were part of the Cherokee Nation. Some people say that his mother died at a young age and that his aunt abused him as a child. She tried to throw him into a furnace, and he was saved and was not hurt or harmed in any way. And then from that point he decided to actually run away. And I guess legend, I want to say, has it that he went to overseas and he traveled with the circus, or traveling amongst people that were doing business out of town. He wound up overseas, over in Egypt, and from there he met an adept and challenged him to go into the pyramids. And when they didn't think he'd be able to make his way out, but he stayed in the pyramids for a couple of nights, and they were astounded that with the test they gave him that he came out of the pyramids and he found his way out of the pyramid of Cheops, I believe it was. And going back to his birth, it was said that the day or the night that he was born, and I'm going to do some of the quotes. I put some of them today on my Facebook page. Some of the things he said when he was amongst us and teaching us back in the 1920 period. One of the things he said about his birth, he said, "I did not let you know who my father and mother were because I don't want you to make a shrine out of the place." Once again, he said, Noble Drew Ali, "I did not let you know who my father and mother were because I don't want you to make a shrine out of the place." And I thought about that when I was looking over the book with some of his writings in it, and I thought to myself, I guess he said that because the information that he brought us was so powerful, and he knew that it would carry us up into the ages till we knew that people were ready for it, even after he transpired, that we would want to know more about who he is and where he came from. But really, I guess he's saying right now that according to history, the way they just kept him out of the history books, we just know that now this is the real deal. Like, it's out in the forefront because people now are thirsty. They want to know. They're tired of just being given 1 month every year with Black History, so-called Black History Month, in which they teach about African Americans that made a contribution to our society over here. But what we don't know, that's beautiful and good, but the thing that they had kept secret is what happened before, and not just to say, oh, people were ex-slaves, which is entirely not true. Some were, some weren't. It all depends on what you know your history to be, and that's something that each person has to take upon themselves in this day and time to really try to put those pieces together to find out who they truly are, because a lot of us were already over here, and a lot of us come from king and queen's background. We're not going to go into that too much today, but basically I believe that's what Noble Drew Ali was trying to tell us when he said those words. I did not let you know who my father and mother were because I don't want you to make a shrine out of the place. Thinking he just didn't want to tell us his lineage because it was said that he was linked to the Cherokee Nation tribe or the Yamasee tribe. But at the same time, he was trying to get us to understand that we too must research the roots of our history, because everybody here on this earth or on here in the United States, as far as people calling themselves Negro, Black, and Colored, there is a history there hidden for each person to try to find. You may find out that you were not a part of a high esteem type of bloodline, but at least you'll be able to find out who you truly are if you would just sit down and take the time to actually ask your elders if they're around. We have Ancestry.com. You can pay $99 to get the DNA done. A lot of times you'll find out that your ancestors were everywhere, because we as Moors, we traveled the whole world, the whole human world. And so these are the things that was kept from us. But now with our youth, they're thirsty. They just don't want to know about the Emancipation Proclamation, because that really did nothing. The Emancipation Proclamation, what that did, that disenfranchised, and that made the Moors like third-class citizens, second-class citizens, worth nothing. And this is when the other names were put upon them: Negro, Black, Colored, which has no status even today. African American. African American doesn't have a status either. It doesn't tie you into a land, and it does not as well teach you your true spiritual nature, your roots, your history, and your heritage. So this was kept from us, and this is one of the reasons that a lot of things that we see today in our community, because our people truly don't know who they are. And then we see the youth are out here pining and wanting to know the true truth, and this is the time that we're in, it must be told. And Noble Drew Ali can no longer be covered up, and I won't accept it, and I'm not going to let that happen. Each day, we get the truth out, one way or the other, and we express it to the whole world who we truly are as Moorish nationals. So that was one of the sayings that Noble Drew Ali said. Another saying was, when I was born, it turned black dark in the daytime, he said. The people put their plows down and came out of their fields. Once again, he said, when I was born, it turned black dark in the daytime. The people put their plows down and came out of their fields. It's to say that the energy was so strong the day that he was born, that we knew he was coming into the world to do something. He had a mission to fulfill. And through all the animosity, everything that he received, especially during that day and time, he was able to start businesses. He was able to resurrect people out of our own communities. It was said that he had 100,000 followers when he started the temples back in 1928, I believe, in Newark, New Jersey. That was the first temple. And then he went on to start other temples. They have some animosity up in Newark, New Jersey, and so he decided that they would go to Chicago. And also in Chicago, there were other people that would eventually leave after he transformed to start their own organization. There was a man there known as David Ford L., and he was better known nowadays as Master Farrar Muhammad. He was in the temple under Noble Ali. Now, the NOI does not like to discuss that a lot, but truth be told, he was there, he is on the rolls, and he was a member of the MOOR Science Temple as David Ford L. Another prominent so-called leader, prominent person in our communities is Elijah Muhammad, for whom we also give thanks and praise. He was also a member of the MOOR Science Temple, being a former member of the Nation of Islam. This was one of the reasons why I decided to lead. I'm not going to get too political with it here, but that was one of the reasons when I found out the real truth. No slight to any members who are still in the Nation of Islam. That's your choice. But now, the truth must be told. Elijah Muhammad was also a member of the MOOR Science Temple under Noble Ali. And from that, when he transformed, he got together with David Ford L., also known as Master Farrar Muhammad, to start the Nation of Islam. So I just wanted to put that out there. We're at the time now where the truth must be told. Truth is truth. There's no animosity toward the NOI or anything like that. But we now must tell the truth because we're trying to heal our communities. So another thing that Noble Ali said was, Asiatic preachers and Masons will be the last to come home. They will fight me tooth and claw but cannot win. Now that's a very powerful statement. That one is as well. He said Asiatic preachers and Masons will be the last to come home. They will fight me tooth and claw but cannot win. And I just want to expound on that a little bit because that is so very true. We see a lot of groups now that are scurrying, and they're actually really trying to come against some of us Moors. But we know that as we hold to our truth, that there is nothing that they can do, because now is the time that the truth must be told. Whether they accept it or not, the elders, that's up to them. But one thing we know, we must keep teaching and refining and fashioning people to truly rewrite the annals and the pages of history, to let the truth be known, because slavery was not what it was told to be in the history books over here in the United States. Now when you deal with history as an educator, the lesson plans only deal with, what does it deal with? It starts off with slavery as far as how the so-called black people got here. But what they leave out, and they don't do this in black history either, this is where they shut Noble Ali out at all. There's nobody's ever heard of him. I know when I first came into the temple back, 7 years ago, 8, almost 9 years ago now, I was so in awe because I said, why did they keep this man out of the history books? And the more I studied it, the more I found out what's really going on, I knew why. Because he absolutely came with the truth. Put the pieces of the puzzle back together for our people that truly want to know the truth. And now we have a lot of people that don't want to see this done. I was listening to a show the other day on a news program, and they were going over what they wanted to do for Martin Luther King. All praise to Martin Luther King as well. No problem there with him. A great order, great person in our history. But there's something about that, because there was a certain preacher that was saying that he wanted to discuss the Emancipation Proclamation. He said on this news story I was watching the other day that he wanted to keep the Emancipation Proclamation out there in the forefront because he said the youth needed to hear it. And I was thinking to myself, wow, they really want to keep that Emancipation Proclamation out there, because that really ties into the disfranchisement of the so-called Moorish people, or black people. Negro, black, and color came along at that time. And so that deals with a lot of money. It deals with organizations receiving monies under civil rights. But now we're at that time now, all that's getting ready to get cut. And a lot of people are mad, a lot of people are angry. But It's just time now to learn to live and come together in peace for those that want it, and to live economically, doing for self, coming in truth, and for the upliftment of fallen humanity, because that's the time that we're in now. For those that don't want to be a part of it, then that's on them. But don't try to step up and try to get in the way of what the youth need to know, because this is the absolute truth. And these are some of the things that must be done in order for our youth to really wake up and to find out their true spiritual nationality for them, so that we can break the cycle of what has been going on here with our people, mainly in our communities. And you have to know who you are in order to know where you're going to. And one other thing that he said was, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I'm going to lead some of you Moors all the way up to salvation, and you're going to turn around and go the other way. Now that's very powerful what he said there, because he's dealing with some of the Moors that are actually calling themselves Moors and Moabites. Very powerful. He's saying you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I'm going to lead some of you Moors all the way up to salvation, and you're going to turn around and go the other way. Go the other way. So what he's saying there, of course, I mean, not hard to figure out what he's saying, that those that say they are Moors, there are some Moors that are doing things they shouldn't be doing, and I'm not going to go into it here. I'm here to try to display unity, but truth is truth, and must be in the forefront and brought out, because this is the things that he said. So you still got people calling themselves Moors, and some of them, they're out here, they're planning hits on how to kill other Moors, how to keep taking money from beneath other Moors, just all kind of things. False mortgages that are going around, dirty deeds that they're establishing, teaching people about mortgages and things like that under the table, which is not correct. That is not what Noble Drawley wanted. So that's the bottom line as far as that's concerned. And so this all ties into our spiritual nationality. So it's up, really, what I'm saying this day and time, is up to each person. Either they're going to go with the shift, accept what it is, make amends for those who must make amends if they've done something, go to their brother, their sister, their community, whoever it may be, say I'm sorry and make amends, and find a way to repair amongst themselves. And then take the medicine. Learn who you are spiritually, mentally, and physically in order to be a better parent, whatever it is that you're trying to do, to be a better example for your children. So that's going to wrap it up for me today, and I just want to thank you all for allowing me once again into your homes. And just remember, we are here as Moors, and it's time for all of us to come together, for those that really do want to come together. But all the games, playtime is over now. So those who want to be in the forefront, they want to help build our communities, to establish it back onto the top of society, without all these racial hatreds and things that are going on in our communities on all sides. Now's the time to step up. The shift is here, and it's 2014. So once again, I want to thank you all for allowing me into your homes. Have a blessed night, and once again, peace and love.